Senator, you are a very, very busy woman today. We appreciate your time. I'll start with Blinken, though. I'm completely dissatisfied with the answers that I saw from him, especially when he kept sticking to this idea that there was some sort of concrete plan, as though there was a handbook that was given to the Biden administration for him to follow based on Trump's withdrawal plans from Afghanistan. But what's weird to me, Senator, is that why didn't that apply to the Iran agreement or the Paris Accord or remain in Mexico policy, but yet Afghanistan is somehow different?
Yeah, it's so disingenuous. And I will add, Dana, I think it is incredibly disrespectful of the men and women in uniform for Antony Blinken to go out here and say, well, you know, we were told this, that, and the other, when what they did was to throw away what President Trump and Secretary Pompeo, our NATO allies, our Afghan partners, had agreed upon. And it was a conditions-based withdrawal. And Joe Biden took out the calendar and that big red marker, and he circled September 11th and said, this is the day we're going to be out of there. I want a victory lap. It's a political decision. I want to say I'm the president that ended 20 years of war in Afghanistan. But the point he missed in all of this is it wasn't a war against the Afghan people. It was a war against the ideology of terrorism. It was called the War on Terror. And the Taliban was seeking safe haven in Afghanistan, in Pakistan. They were looking for places that they could go and hide out and cook up plots against the free world.
No, that's, I mean, completely. And of course, now this is going to be a dark spot on the map in terms of having any kind of intelligence network. Still no total on how many actual Americans or SIVs are left in Kabul. And then the way that he presented, or the way that he explained, Senator, the State Department's, I guess, eager. It made it sound like the State Department was so easy to work with. But I've heard from so many members of Congress that this actually isn't the case. What has been your experience?
Our caseworkers have been very frustrated with trying to get information out of the State Department. And we've got a lot of career bureaucrats over at the State Department that should have been working on this months ago. And that has been a point of frustration. And Dana, as we go through the next few weeks, we're going to have briefings. We have a Senate Armed Services have had a briefing today that was a classified briefing. We want to find out exactly what happened, what the decision process was, make certain that this does not happen again. This has been a debacle. It's an embarrassment to the United States. It's disrespectful of the men and women in uniform and of the command team, who we hear were saying, hey, you know, you can't do this with a real short runway. You got to have a little bit more lead time to make certain that we do this right and that we remove all of our citizens and our Afghan partners.
Senator, you've always been very, very critical, and rightfully so, of Facebook and some of the policies that Facebook has undertaken, and this newest one, this whitelisting of certain preferred users. Now, Facebook has been in a lot of trouble. Mark Zuckerberg has gone and testified before Congress, Jack Dorsey as well. And now to discover that Facebook may have allowed some people to just bypass the fact checkers. I mean, it's amazing to see even people who created mRNA technology have some of these like fact checker labels put over them on Facebook, which is kind of stunning. But this whitelisting, this I don't know, double standard and treatment. That doesn't seem to be, whether it's like their terms of service or 230 or something. That doesn't seem like consistent access for everyone. What are your thoughts on this policy that Facebook has?
Yeah, well, Dana, you're right. I've been on this issue for years. When it comes to privacy, data security, Section 230 needing to be reformed, what we have known is that Facebook had a pattern of censorship, and that they had two tiers of service that they seemed to provide. And what this report shows is that they do indeed have two different tiers of service. They have X-check cross-check. They have whitelisting, and if you're one of the elites, you get one set of services, and if you're everybody else, you're going to get censored, you can get shadow banned, you can get blocked. These are the things that we have said for years, that we were seeing anecdotal evidence that this was taking place inside Facebook's headquarters with their content moderators. And indeed, the whistleblower, the documents that we're seeing prove that this is what they have been doing. Now, reforming Section 230, that is something that we are working on, changing that language, looking at how we deal with Facebook. Indeed, Senator Blumenthal filed our bill on app stores and making those more equitable and fair, and the payment systems and how it applied to app developers that are smaller developers. And we were building some steam with that. We'll still pass the bill, but Facebook or Apple moved forward and changed their practice and said, okay, we're going to allow this. So this is what congressional attention, when you have a building of consensus among members of the Senate, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer for those of us as conservatives to make the inroads we need to make, because we don't have big media with us. Big media is out there protecting big social media and the Democrats. But it shows you that the American people are speaking up. Social media is an information service. The internet is classified as an information service, as the new town square, and that is to be equal access.